So a lot of you are fishing from a pier or a dock, or maybe you're fishing off the bank. And that was me for a long time. Up until I convinced my parents when I was 12 years old to buy a 14-foot flat bottom aluminum boat, I was sneaking into golf course ponds. I was fishing off of a bridge or a pier in the saltwater, and there was a little dock on a lake close to my house that I would always fish off of if I was fishing in the freshwater. So I've done it all when it comes to bank fishing or just fishing not from a boat. Now, the more that I fish from a boat, the more tournaments and things that I fished as a professional fisherman, I've learned how beneficial it was to me to learn how to fish from a dock for a bunch of different reasons. Now, when you're fishing, let's say in the summertime, typically it's just one cast where you'll catch all the fish. You'll be on a spot. If it's a hump or a ledge, whatever it may be, there's going to be a place in that area where those fish are going to feed. You're going to set your boat up to where you make one repeated cast to the same spot. Now, that's a lot like fishing off a dock or a pier. Now, those fish typically are coming to the areas where there's a dock or a pier because they're finding some type of refuge with that dock. They may be using it for shade or, just spawning up against the pilings, whatever it may be. There's a lot of reasons for a fish to come to a dock. Now, a lot of docks are also in channel swings or places where just fish naturally are going to live year round. So when you find a specific cast off of a dock, you can typically catch fish after fish off that one cast. Now you're learning how to do what a lot of offshore fishermen take years and years to do, positioning their boat and understanding how to catch a fish and how important boat positioning is. Now, another thing about fishing off a dock when it comes to being around fish and understanding how to catch them is a lot of times in the pre-spawn, it's very important that you don't get in a hurry and start moving your boat around. Now, you may not be catching anything at that exact instance, but what happens a lot of times is those fish just bite in little windows in the pre-spawn. So you'll be fishing, you'll catch one, and you may be around a bunch of fish. They're not all going to be on one spot like in the summertime example I use. They might just be all around the boat. And if you move the boat too much, you're not going to catch those fish. Fishing off a dock really teaches you that if you're patient and you just relax and just don't move and wait for them to start biting again, you can catch them. A lot of times we waste by moving the boat. We're wasting a bunch of time going somewhere else when there's fish there to be caught. They're just not biting at that specific instance. Now, there's also a lot of things you can learn when it comes to techniques of fishing off a dock. Now, obviously, you can throw any lure off a dock. That's not really where I'm going with this. It's the shallow to deep cast. Now, this is a cast that I use all the time when I'm fishing out of my boat. Let's say I throw up shallow, I catch one, the boat kind of drifts up to where the fish was at, or maybe I get hung up. I got to go up in a foot of water and get my bait off. And before I move the boat back out to where I was fishing at, I will take a cast from shallow, like a foot of water, throw it out as far as I can throw it out, let it sink down to that deeper range, and then work the bait from deep to shallow. Now, fish are going to bite you a lot of times when you're coming from shallow or from deep to shallow. And the reason I believe is because fish always see baits going from where your boat's at. You're out in the deeper water, you throw shallow and you bring it back out deep. Fish see that all day long. Every boat that casts is going to cast to the bank and bring it back out deep. If you can reverse that, there's something to the angle of reversing it that just the fish can't resist. They associate the normal cast with seeing other fish get hooked. There's a negative association with that to the fish. If you throw it from shallow to deep, a lot of the times the fish don't see other fish get caught that way. They don't have any negative association. They think it's a more natural presentation. Now, if it's next to a dock or something where people are always fishing that way, then yeah, there's going to be a negative association. But if it's a place out in the middle of the lake where there's no one fishing off the bank there, the cast from the bank out deep to shallow. And learning that from fishing off a dock can make you really good at understanding how to get that bait to fall You really understand where the bait's at in the water column, and then you can bring it up the slope. Now that's another great thing that I learned from dock fishing. But guys, this is one of those things where I look back and I've learned over time, like, well, why does that guy always do so well that time of year? It's like, well, he's just more patient than other guys. It's like, well, why does that guy catch him so well off that ledge? There was 5 boats there. Why did only one guy catch him? It's like, well, he had the bright cast. You will learn that stuff fishing from a dock. So if you don't have a boat yet, you don't have a kayak, you don't have some way to get out on the water, but you still want to fish, don't overlook all the things you can learn from fishing off a pier or a dock or just fishing off the bank, because there's so many things you can learn, a lot more than I mentioned in this video. So good luck to you guys. Keep fishing off the bank and the dock. I'm probably going to go out and fish off a dock today some because I just miss it. That's how I got started in bass fishing, and it's a great way to learn. So good luck to you guys, and I'll see you on the water.